What's up, everyone? Tactic Zombies here. Welcome to episode 2 of the CoD Zombies Retrospective Series. Today's episode, we're going to be looking at Verruckt, which is probably the scariest zombies map ever released. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video. So first of all, the map doesn't open with an opening cutscene like Nocturne Totem did. Instead, it just opens up with a loading screen of a map of the map, which is set inside an abandoned insane asylum. Much like how Nocturne Totem was mostly repurposed from the multiplayer map Airfield, Verruckt is likewise mostly repurposed from the multiplayer map Asylum. I'll put it up on screen right now. You can tell the original multiplayer map is a lot bigger, but the actual center part of the map is very clearly the actual Verruckt area. You can overlay it with the loading screen map and tell they're one-to-one. This map does a really good job of letting the player know immediately that there's going to be new things on this map before they even load into the game. The three biggest innovations that this map made are the perks, the power, and the traps. All of these features would go on to become Call of Duty Zombies staples, and they all got their start here. I just want to quickly point out the style of this loading screen. I really like it. It has a very creepy conspiracy theory vibe with all the pictures, and the map looks all scrawled out. It just really fits the vibe old Zombies went for, where it's more of like a real-world conspiracy they were basing the story off of. And in particular, I want to shout out this one picture at the bottom. This always creeped me out as a kid. It gives me the same vibes as some creepypasta pictures if you grew on the internet, during that time, 2012, 2013, 2014. Just really creeps me out, the zombie's face with the small hand. I'll put up comparison pictures just to show same type of pictures that it gives me the vibes of. The first thing you'll notice if you're playing a 3 or 4 player is that the spawn room is divided into 2 sections and you can't get to the other side, so your team is split up. Still, even to this day, a very unique concept in Zombies. It's only been done maybe 2 or 3 times since. But each side of the spawn room has writing in it that says power will reunite you. So players already have a goal set. They need to get the power back on so they can get the whole team together. The actual layout of the map can best be described as a big rectangular donut. The map wraps around a courtyard that is inaccessible, a square in the middle, and then the rest of the map is just the hallways and rooms surrounding it. So in the spawn room, there's a door that only opens once the power has been turned on, and power is at the complete opposite end of the donut, as can be seen from the loading screen. So the players have to go and open up to the other side of the map and basically complete the circuit in order to turn on power, and then they open up the whole map. It's just a big circuit basically around the courtyard. Since I keep bringing up power, what even is the power on this map? So as mentioned, at the opposite end of the donut, I'm just going to keep calling it the donut for now, is the power room. And when the players get to it, there's a big power switch in there with the hand that's cut off on the lever, and you basically go up and you can flip power on. Whole map jumps to life. The transformer in the power room starts making a ton of noise. Everything just turns on. All the other new features of the map are only accessible once you turn power on. The door in the spawn room that was previously needed to be powered is now open, so the map is completely open now. Power is probably the most vital feature on this map. So one of the creepier features on the map is that once you turn on power, over the PA system, a creepy song will start to play. And as I was doing research for this video, I found out there's actually kind of a lost media search looking for the song that was used over the PA systems. The song that a lot of people thought it was is this. I'll put the name up on screen because my German is horrible. I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's a German folk song, which, funny enough, there's actually a rendition of it that can be found in Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the songs Dutch has on his phonograph, which, if I was expecting any sort of connection in this video to be made, it was not with Red Dead 2, that's for sure. Yeah, and although these songs sound similar, it's not it, which kind of sucks, because that would be really funny if the Red Dead 2 song was actually the Verruckt song. But the actual song was discovered a year ago, pretty recently, and it's called Valse by Stefan Diaz. I'll put it up on screen. Shout out to Jessica Griffith on YouTube for finding and uploading the original song. Thank you. Back to the actual song that appears in the map. It fits perfectly. It juxtaposes the horrifying, just World War II, inhumane asylum with, carnival music almost. It's just really creepy and really well done, and it doesn't help that the map has so many other creepy sounds, screaming that you'll hear, And not like how Nocturne Totem had screaming. I don't know if I put it in the video, that you would hear the zombies off in the distance groaning and moaning. This screaming is like people screaming, and it like it's spine chilling. Take a listen. So let's get back to the other gameplay innovations. Now, definitely the biggest innovation that Verruckt ever did is the perk system, or Perk-a-Colas as they're called in Zombies. This was the developer's way of bringing the perk system for multiplayer that was super popular and trying to put a little slice of it into Zombies, and they pulled it off really well. This map only has the 4 original perks, which to this day I think a lot of people would agree are overall some of the best ones. And they're all mostly, well, not all, 3 of them are based off multiplayer perks, and we'll get into that. First off is Juggernog, which is probably the most famous Call of Duty Zombies perk, and it's based off the multiplayer perk Juggernaut, and it basically just lets you take more damage before going down, and it costs 2,500 points. Up next is Speed-Cola. This one lets you reload faster. It's based off Sleight of Hand from the multiplayer, and it costs 3,000 points. It lets you rebuild barriers faster, as well as reload your weapons, I think 33% faster, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 33% faster, though. So, LMGs and shotguns, this perk is a must-have. Up next is Double Tap Root Beer. This one increases your rate of fire with automatic weapons, and I'm pretty sure it reduces the fire cap for semi-auto weapons, so you can shoot those faster as well, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. And this one costs 2,000 points, which for some of the slower firing weapons, like the STG and the MP40 and the BAR, this is a really good perk. Just be careful if you get something like a MG42 or whatever. You can blow through ammo really quickly with the increased fire rate. By the way, Double Tap is based off of the multiplayer perk. It's just called Double Tap. It does the exact same thing in multiplayer. So last and probably least is Quick Revive Soda. This isn't really based on a multiplayer perk, like maybe because there's Last Stand in multiplayer, but reviving is a function in campaign anyways, so this one's really not based on a multiplayer perk, but it lets you revive your down teammates quicker. And on solo, if you don't have teammates, it does absolutely nothing but waste your money. So, if you're playing solo, you only really buy it if you're going for that Rainbow Perk Challenge. Aside from that, you could skip this one. Costs 1,500 points. Lastly but not least are the traps. Of the 3 big gameplay innovations, these are probably the least important, but here they're pretty big. So on either side of the map, there is a electric trap. For 1,000 points, you can lock off a balcony on either end of the asylum, and any zombies that run through the electricity that's arcing are gonna die. But players, it's an insta-kill if you don't have Juggernog, and even if you do have Juggernog, it takes you down to 1-hit health. So be very careful with these. It's very easy to go down with. Bouncing Betties were first introduced on this map, and they're little landmines that you can buy for 1,000 points, and you'll get 2 new Bouncing Betties at the start of every single round, and they basically help the player. You can lock down and try and fortify different areas of the map. These are honestly probably one of the more underrated innovations of the map, because every single map from here to at least the end of Black Ops 3 would have some form of Bouncing Betty, be it claymores or trip mines or whatever the claymore equivalent is. It all started here. Let's talk the actual layout of the map. The map can be split in half, basically going left to right if you look at the map from the loading screen. And these sides, the top side has been dubbed the German side, and the bottom side has been dubbed the American side. This is due to the fact that the German side only has German guns on the wall, and the American side only has American guns on the wall. As for what lies on each side, the German side contains Juggernog and Double Tap, and then the American side contains Quick Revive and Speed-Cola. Out of the 2 sides, the German side is pretty objectively just the better side because it has Juggernog. The way you get the power from each side, the German side has 3 doors to open while the American side has 5. So they're not very, it's not like how most Zombies maps would, going forward, would have. If there's 2 routes you can take to get the power, they're usually the exact same number of doors. They just take you through different parts of the map. Not true here. Here, if you spawn on the American side, it's gonna take you longer to get the power, map's gonna get harder. So German side, pretty objectively the better side. American side's got some cool guns on it though, like the Thompson. The American side even has a useless door that leads nowhere, right into a dead-end hallway in the spawn room. Just not a good look. The electric trap is even better on the German side because inside the actual balcony that the traps are like blocking off, the American side has 2 windows that zombies can still come and get you from, even if you have the trap on. German side only has 1 window, so overall, German side is pretty heavily, objectively, just the better side on Verruckt. Speaking of guns, there's a couple new guns that were introduced on Verruckt. The better of the two being the PPSH, which is a drum mag, SMG, rapid fire. It's awesome. It's a fan favorite for a good reason. It's just really good for points, good for damage. It's an all-around excellent weapon, and I'm really sad it's not on Knocked, but it's on every World at War map going forward. It's been in Black Ops 3, been in Black Ops Cold War. It's been all over. It's an awesome, awesome weapon. Now, something I noticed when I was getting footage for this video, which was probably on Knocked as well, but I didn't notice it there, is that when you're using fire-based weapons, like the flamethrower, the Molotovs, or the electric trap, because the electric trap sets the zombies on fire, is that the actual zombies' character model will actually become burnt and charred, which I didn't know that. That was a pretty neat attention to detail for a 15-year-old game. Speaking of guns that were added, it's really time to talk about the elephant in the room, that being the Springfield rifle. So located on the wall in the American side of the spawn room for a whole 200 points, the Springfield is the worst gun that's ever been in Call of Duty Zombies, period. Hands down. For context, the German side and American side both have a semi-auto weapon in the spawn room and then a bolt-action rifle. So the German side has the Kar98K and the Gewehr, and then the American side has the Springfield and the M1 Garand. Now the Kar98K, it's not a very good gun, but it's hitting, one-shot headshots till maybe round 3 or 4, and you can use it pretty reliably until maybe round 4 or 5, is when you should probably get rid of it if you're using it. Not the Springfield. The Springfield stops being a one-shot to the head on round 2. It's awful. And the iron sights are wrong, so you're gonna miss most of your shots if you're shooting at something that's more than maybe 20 feet away, which with Verruckt in your early spawns where they're all out in the, especially on the American side, where they're all either out in the woods or at the other end of the courtyard making their way to you, it's awful. It's the worst gun ever. Save the 100 or 200 points and just, get the M1 Garand. It's much better. And it's just, it's pitiful. It's pitiful. I'll have some gameplay up on screen. It's just, truly, it is the worst Call of Duty weapon ever, I think. Not even just zombies, I think it might be the worst gun in Call of Duty. Speaking of waste of points, is also the aforementioned useless dead-end door in the American spawn room. So for 750 points, you can open up into this little dinky hallway that just leads you down. Only thing in there is a wall buy for the BAR with the deployable bipod. Now, that sounds cool, except you can't use the deployable bipod or deployable, any of the deployable, because the LMGs are deployable. You can't deploy those either, because it was cut. It was in the trailer, and that's it. There's a glitch you can do, but I'm not even sure how to do it. I've never done it. It's pointless. And if you really want the BAR that bad, you can open up 2 other doors and actually make progress to getting to power. There's a BAR, the 3rd room you open on the American side. Another just pointless waste of points. The only reason I could ever see anyone opening this is if they need a camping spot when you're playing multiplayer. That's really it. So the Mystery Box does have one other item in it now, but it's not a gun or grenade or tactical. It's the teddy bear. So after a random number of rolls, the Mystery Box will eventually give you a teddy bear. And then at which point you'll get laughed at, and then the box will fly away, and then poof out of existence, and then a couple seconds later, it's going to spawn somewhere else in the map. There's a bunch of set spawns, not a bunch, maybe 6 or 7. I haven't counted them, but they're marked by piles of rubble on the ground with a teddy bear sitting on it, and then you can see the top panel of the box that opens. At this point, players will have to go out and look around the map to find the mystery box again. I think this is a great change, especially for the mode going forward, because from now on the mystery box is more complex than just, oh, it's a place where you can just pay to get a random gun. Now I've got to worry about getting that teddy bear, and now I've got to track the box down again, and it's just great change. The mystery box is going to get one more change to it. That's going to come in Chino Numa. We'll talk about it when we get there. And there's one last gameplay thing I need to mention, and it's something that was actually exclusive to Verruckt for the longest time, and that's the Super Sprinter Zombies. These guys start spawning in at round 6, and they are, again, the fastest zombies we had seen and would see for, I think, another decade going forward or so. Which I think it's like a peanut butter and chocolate combination. You have the most cramped, claustrophobic map we'd ever seen, and probably will ever see, combined with the fastest zombies we had ever seen and would see for a very long time. Because with normal sprinters, you know, I think the zombie sprint is the same speed as the normal player walk, so you can still keep good distance between you and the zombies just by walking on most maps, but not here, no. These super sprinters will gain distance, they will chase you down. They're just, overall I think the super sprinters were a wonderful addition, and they help give this map a real sense of identity all its own. So, thumbs up. So now that all the gameplay has been talked about, I just want to talk about the cool little details and Easter eggs on the map, because these are really what make zombies maps, is the details. It's the little things, you know? So let's get right into it. Firstly, and probably biggest, is the Easter egg song. So by flushing this specific toilet 3 times, I'll show which one it is on screen. You get the song Lullaby for a Dead Man by Kevin Sherwood to play, which this is a classic. Kevin and there's Lena Siegman and a bunch of other singers who have done them. They're staples of zombies. Every single map's got one for the most part, except for Knocked because it was the first, but a lot of the ones, and especially Black Ops 1, would have more of a heavy metal vibe, which we'll get to when we get to that, but I think this one is very unique. It's a lot slower, it's a lot more kind of creepy, I guess. Just overall, wonderful start for the Easter egg songs. Still one of my favorites. Just a little extra tidbit is that this song was actually used as the Game Over song for Nocturne Toten. It's like an early demo version of the guitar riff was. Verruckt is the first zombies map to have an actual announcer, because Nocturne Toten, when you got power-ups on Nocturne Toten, they would just say at the bottom of the screen how much time you had left, or just pop up on screen. Max ammo, nuke. Verruckt going forward, they've got announcers. Insta-kill! This map actually has Marines as characters, the same as Nocturne Toten, but they have dialogue now, and they actually have names on this map. This really was groundbreaking for a zombies map at the time. The 4 Marines are John Banana, Smokey, Paxton Gunner Ridge, and Tank Dempsey. You can keep Tank Dempsey in mind because he's going to go on to be one of the main 4 characters in Chino Numa and then going forwards. You can stand under the showers and leaky pipes, and you can actually have like a water effect going over your screen. Pretty cool. Next to each of the perk machines, there are posters advertising the different Perk-a-Colas. And it's kind of cool because the Quick Revive one uses an old, I'm guessing, early concept logo. So instead of the guy coming out of the grave, it's like a EKG, like heart rate monitor little thing on the perk bottle. And then the Juggernog one says Juggernaut Soda. So clearly that's still early concept. Which I only noticed this going through for making this video, paying more attention. It's pretty cool. The same as Nocturne Toten, the zombies when you're playing on solo is locked at 24 zombies per round at the maximum. There's a sign on the American side of the map that says in German, "Warning, all unattended children will be sent to the circus immediately." Inside the power room, you can stand by this little terminal here. You can hear numbers broadcast, and apparently the numbers are a reference to Lost. I've never seen Lost, but I've read online and I've heard in YouTube videos that this is apparently a number sequence from the show, so pretty neat. You can interact with the dentist chair in the German spawn room and hear this. You can interact with the morgue boxes in the American side of the spawn room and either hear a man screaming, a woman screaming, or a baby crying. It's creepy. Out of all the writings on the wall, which there's a lot on this map, the 2 most notable are one that is most likely a reference to a Bible verse about death, and then the other one is the date that a meteor fell, I believe in New Jersey or Pennsylvania is what I read. Interesting that they're setting up meteors as a point of focus. And that just about wraps up the World at War version of the map. I just want to go over the remasters really quick. Won't take anywhere near as long. There's not anywhere near as much to talk about with those versions. So I just want to talk about some of the neat changes that they make, for better or for worse. So in Black Ops 1, the loading screen was changed to be more comic booky, which it fits in more with the aesthetic that they had going for Black Ops 1, which we'll get to later, but for Black Ops 1 and then parts of Black Ops 2, all the loading screens were supposed to look like they were taken from a comic book, which this fits more with that, but I feel like it loses kind of the creepy vibe that it had originally, so I'm not a huge fan of this change. The 4 Marines were replaced with the Ultimus crew, which was the same that happened with the Nocturne Toten remaster, which not as jarring here as the Black Ops 1 Nocturne Toten because they did have dialogue on Verruckt originally, the Marines, so them putting characters in with dialogue isn't as much of a tone shift because it already was dialogue, so it's not like we're Noct where they basically put characters in where there are none and it kind of feels off in the Black Ops 1 version of Noct, if you know what I'm saying. All the mystery box guns have been replaced with Black Ops 1 weapons, and all the wall guns are the same, except for the Springfield has been replaced by the Kar 98K. It was so bad that they got rid of it in the remaster, which, you know, you don't appreciate what you got until it's gone. So, if you really want to use the Springfield, you have to play the World at War version, which I can't tell if they're helping or hurting people with this change. I'll leave that up to you to decide for yourself. Speaking of new items in the mystery box, the monkey bombs are in the box now, same as they were on Noct. And then instead of the thunder gun, we get the Winter's Howl, which I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to save it for 5 when we get to 5. That's the map it was originally on. But it's not that good. It's good early rounds, but by round 15 it's starting to fall off, and by round 20 it's not really good at all. So overall, pretty dookie wonder weapon, to be honest. The perk posters for Quick Revive and Juggernog were adjusted, so the Quick Revive poster now shows the actual in-game perk icon, and then the Juggernog poster doesn't say Juggernaut anymore, it says Juggernog as it should. And speaking of perks, Mule Kick is on the map now, same as it was in Nocturne Toten. Basically, if you don't remember, you weren't there for the last video, if you don't know, Mule Kick, 4,000 points, lets you own a third gun. It's nothing too crazy. The super spinners were completely removed in the Black Ops 1 version because there weren't super spinners in Black Ops 1 zombies, so I don't think they were going to make super spinners just for Verruckt. It's sad to see them go because they were one of the big unique features of the map, so them not being here really makes it not as fun as the World at War version in my opinion. Lastly, the spawns for when playing in solo were fixed, and now they're not stuck at 24 zombies around forever, so the zombies when playing solo scale as intended now. Which is, take it or leave it, because the 24 zombies was part of that, like, old World at War charm that Noct and Verruckt, and we'll talk about Shinonuma. Shinonuma has it too, but overall, I think this is a pretty good change. This does make this version of Verruckt much harder, though, than World at War, because there's no real reliable way to kill all the zombies once you start getting up into the high rounds. There's no powerful enough wonder weapon to kill zombies forever, so this version is much harder because you can't just tell you're around with the trap anymore. And that about does it for the Black Ops 1 version. Let's get right into the Black Ops 3 version. The process of turning on power is a bit more dramatic now because the actual electricity doesn't start sparking at the transformer until you turn power on. So you don't turn power on, it's just dark in the power room, turn power on, everything comes to life. I think this is a good change, helps to give some more oomph to turning on the power. Black Ops 3 adds the Gobblegum and Wonder Fizz to Verruckt. Where the Gobblegums have several machines throughout the map, the Wonder Fizz is located right outside the power room on the German side, right near where the bathroom is. All of the weapons now are Black Ops 3 weapons, both in the box and on the wall. Mystery Box now contains the Ray Gun Mark II, the Annihilator Specialist Weapon, and then the Wunderwaffe DG2. I'm just going to save talking about the Wunderwaffe for next week since that was Shinonuma's where it was introduced anyways, but just know this is a much better wonder weapon for the map than the Winter's Howl could ever dream to be. The perk posters were all updated one more time, so now the actual bottles on the posters look like the bottles that the Perk-a-Colas use in-game. And then the funny little dude was taken off the Quick Revive poster. I don't know why, I don't know who he is, he's probably a Treyarch dev. I hope he didn't do anything bad that warranted getting kicked out, or kicked out of the poster. He was like my favorite part of the map. It was the poster dude. Oh well, again, what can you do? Map also has a new musical Easter egg on Black Ops 3, which Nocturne Toten had this as well. I forgot to mention it there. Sorry about that. This slipped my mind. Basically, you can play hide and seek with these little music boxes with this little girl, who we'll talk about her later. She becomes very important, but you basically can have to play hide and seek with these music boxes. You shoot them all, and then you get a free max ammo, and then the song starts playing. More Easter eggs are always a good thing, especially when they're little small ones like this. There were some changes to the actual asylum, like not the area inside where you play, but outside. So first of all, to help with continuity, the gate leading up to the asylum now says 935 over the top of it. Get to why that's important in a little bit. And then a change I'm not a big fan of is that the map feels like they're a little too try-hard, a little trying to be a bit too scary, like the fountain in the old map. They changed the actual statue on the fountain, that's fine. But now the fountain's filled with blood, the courtyard is filled with bones, the showers are running with blood. It's a bit too over the top, like, you know, I don't know, it's just like, feels very creepypasta-esque with like hyper-realistic blood and eyes. I don't know, not a huge fan of these changes. And as for the story of Verruckt, we really learn more about the story from later maps that talk about it, so I think it would just be best to save the story for when we learn about it elsewhere. So, yeah, that just about does it. Overall, I think Verruckt is a much better zombies map than Nocturne Toten, and I know that might be a controversial opinion, I don't know, but I just feel like it did so much to innovate, and it's creepy, it's got such a unique atmosphere, and it's just, I love Verruckt. It's one of my favorite World at War maps. I definitely think it's up there with the World at War maps for me. Even after all this time later, there's still no zombies maps that quite have the same type of atmosphere that Verruckt has. It's just such a unique and one-off map. I love it. I can't get enough of it. It's especially playing it for this map, or for this video, I get such a new appreciation for the map, which I always liked Verruckt, but now it's like, I think honestly it might be one of my favorites just because like how much deep diving I had to do, and it's a really good map. Definitely an underrated map at that. Alright, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. It means a whole lot. Now, if you have any thoughts on ways I can make the videos better, please leave them in the comments because I'm always trying to improve. This is a very new type of video for me, these Zombies Retrospectives. And the Nocturne Toten one was received pretty well, but I did get a comment said, vary up the background footage more, so I definitely tried to do that with this video. So, again, I'm just trying to make these videos better and better with each video. So, anyways, sorry, I'm rambling right now. But anyways, so be sure to come back next week where we're going to go all the way to Japan, to the Swamp of Death in Shinonuma. I'll see you guys then. Peace out.
Yeah, cause I got it like that. Flow so smooth like I got it on tap. Yeah, and I'ma say it be a good night while I'm on my Yingling, while I'm drinking Bud Light. Can you get it when you miss me?